Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I am reading an excerpt out of When Mothers Cry, and I am in chapter 13, Relationship Problems. If you have the book, you can turn to page 136. One thing that is important to understand when a mother is crying, when she's stressed, is the relationship that she has with the partner who she's had a child or children with. If the relationship is not solid, and I'm not talking about solid financially, okay? I'm not talking about solid in the sense that he does nice things for, periodically and all of that. I'm talking about solid emotionally. If she's stressing over where he's going, what he's doing, who he's talking to, it is safe to say that that relationship is still not built on a solid foundation. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 or 20 plus years old. I know people who, more specifically women, who still 20 some years later have their insecurities about their husbands. Okay. And they have a close eye on them. And a lot of the attitude and the stress and sometimes the flippant remarks that they'll make in public or over the phone or what have you has a lot to do with the hurt that they still have inside as a result of some infidelity or maybe some cheating during the dating years. Okay. That stuff is hard to get over. That's why if it happens to you, it's better to move on, because some people just can't get over those things and they will run that man into the ground with words, with disrespect, right? Some of them will even go so far as to batter their men. This is how serious this can be. And now you bring children into the world, knowing you got all of this stuff going on in a relationship. It isn't any wonder why the children are stressed too. They see mom stressed. They hear the arguments. They notice the attitudes, the tension. I want to go somewhere. Let me go over my grandmother's, because these two. I want to go somewhere. Let me hang out over at my friend's house. Matter of fact, let me live over there at my friend's house. And when they get older, that's the kind of things that they do. They're running, they're escaping. And these selfish parents, they don't see. They're blind. All they see is that cheating man, emotionally and or physically cheating on them. That's all they see. They choose the man over the children, the dysfunctional man, which makes them dysfunctional because they stayed with them. Some women never got to have children. And for them, they are so disheartened by it. But actually, you can look at it as a good thing, because if that man wasn't good to begin with, that's why you didn't have babies with him. The other woman got the burden. You see? So these relationship problems in chapter 13, let's read. Mama's boys are the worst kind of partners to have, because your relationship makes or breaks based on his mother's opinion. If his mother doesn't like you, then you will notice a difference in the way he communicates with you. Let's also add men into the mama's boy group who rely on other female opinion in the family, right? You got them sisters. Okay. You got the aunts, the nieces. Okay, so they're relying on other female opinion in the family, on the job, and any other place they feel comfortable with women as well. All this outside communication is grounds for a breakup. Did you hear me? All this outside communication is grounds for a breakup. Now, this applies to the weak men, okay? Because the strong men, they know how to quell some of these desperate females, Okay, that always got some kind of remark, whether it's a flirtatious remark or it's a remark where, I'm just being sweet and nice, or it's a remark that advises him on his personal relationship or professional one, whatever. Some of these men know how to keep all of that in a box. Other men, they're just all on it. And then in the back of their mind, they're thinking, yeah, this is the next one that I'll date when this other one, is gone. All right. So some of them, they got their little plans for the future and they think folks are stupid. Okay. But a mother, she has her cry when, once again, she has experienced some foolishness with yet another man, emotional and or physical cheating. Reading on, according to the U.S. Census Bureau in 2003, 43.7% of custodial mothers and 56.2% of custodial fathers were either separated or divorced. Those numbers are high, my friend, and they seem to be increasing at times because, once again, we see in the media someone else is divorced, someone else is separated. And in 2002, 7.8 million Americans paid about $40 billion in child and spousal support. That's 84% of the payers were male. Okay. Intimate relationships thrive on the time spent communicating with one another. Did you hear me? Intimate relationships thrive on the time spent communicating with one another. So if the rules in the relationship are we don't communicate, or we only communicate around the holiday season, or we only communicate based on children's needs, okay, then the mother has a cry. Because if she cannot communicate whenever something moves her, whether she's happy, sad, glad, what have you, okay, she's going to take her communication to someone else. It may be the mom. It may be the children. Or we talked about men, right? Emotional and physical cheating. Or it may be another man or men that supply her emotionally and or physically. Okay, pay attention. Some of you men who want to take advantage, thinking that, I got all these female friends and I got, folks that support me and pay attention to me and like me on Facebook and I got all of this. Well, understand that if that woman is sick and tired of being sick and tired and she's not necessarily a spiritual one, she gonna do what she gonna do. Okay. So she may not be as bold as you. She may not slip like you do, but she gonna do what she gonna do. This is why it's important to make sure that you have communication in your relationship on good times and bad times. But make sure it's more good times than it is bad times, because people have a problem receiving information from someone who the only time you really talk to me is when you need something. The only time when you really talk to me is when you want to get something off your chest. But any other time, you don't really have any type of conversation for me. Okay, you don't start any conversation. You don't act interested in me. You don't act like you like me or even love me. So you got a lot of nerve trying to input in my life when I got my girls, or I got, my mama, or I got some other man that you don't know about. You see? This is real, saints. I'm telling you. Yet many couples are just not listening to relationship experts and are putting themselves in positions to cheat. You would think the threat of having to pay child and spousal support would keep these fathers at home with their families, but nope. How many times do wise women and men have to preach to the world the grass isn't greener on the other side? Well, in my case, it is. I'm with my mistress now, I can hear somebody say. Okay, it's all in what you see. Somebody on the outside looking in would say, no, you got the same issues because you're the same person. You're the same person that you were in the last relationship, and you're the same person in this relationship. The only difference is this lady can tolerate more from you because maybe she went through her share of upset with other folks. So she just got tougher skin. Doesn't mean that she's necessarily greener. It just means she got tougher skin. Come on now. I'm speaking to somebody. Now, maybe some men and women were able to do things a little differently to get better grass. But in the majority of cheating romances, the grass just isn't any greener. Instead, the grass usually turns from green to yellow and eventually dies. So today it might be a bit green, but as she gets older and as she starts to see some things, and then if you have babies with her, well, she's not that same woman that you met or that you were cheating with. Okay? People change. Okay? Let me say that again for somebody. People change, and that's why some of these mothers went from smiling to crying in some of these relationships, because there were sometimes too many changes with some folks. The man went through his share of stuff, the children and their milestones, the in-laws and the stuff they were doing and saying, and then you even had the neighbors and people were coming and going in a community. Lots of change. Okay? Then after a while, a cheater will dig the old grass up, okay? Instead, the grass usually turns from green to yellow and eventually dies, right? Then after a while, a cheater will dig the old grass up, throw it away, right? Change, and look for another patch of green grass. This happens a lot with men going through midlife crisis. They know that they're getting older and they're not comfortable with it. They know that they have a lot of dreams and ambitions and so forth, but they have not or have yet to do anything about them. Okay. So he thinks throwing away that old grass and, and planting some new grass is going to do the trick. No, you're just going to have new problems. In time, that grass will get old and yellow too, until he realizes that he can care for the grass he already has by learning how to water, fertilize, and cultivate it, instead of trying to plant new grass, or in other words, a new someone year after year. Buying grass can get expensive. It's best to learn how to care for it. Cheating mothers need to take heed to this advice, okay? Reading on, mothers who have been the victims of cheating are often alone in their pain, because at the time it happens, there's usually no one around who can comfort them. And don't look to your children to comfort you, because all they're going to do, especially if they're in love with daddy, all they're going to do is say, I just wish that you and daddy would get back together. Okay? Or maybe they don't particularly care for daddy and they really wish that something bad happens to daddy. You know, so children are not counselors. And so they are the last ones that you need to be talking to when it comes to cheating partners. All right. And anyway, besides, you don't want them to resent their dad. I mean, because even though the dad was not all that good and right about the things that he did, you still don't want them to start resenting their dad. Okay. Even a partner who cheated will have someone to lean on to ease his pain when the relationship with his children's mother comes to an end. And that's where you get into some trouble. Because I know that in the past, when I knew that there was a man or men that were doing their share of things, seeing other women and so forth, there was a temptation, well, he's seeing somebody, I should see somebody too. And if you do it prematurely, that relationship doesn't work with the new person anyway, or it's not panning out in what you wanted it to pan out into, you see. So just because he got someone doesn't necessarily mean that you should be doing, what he does. Okay, that's why you go to the Lord on these things. You really do. Okay. A mother who has been cheated on will agonize over the fact that she was the babysitter for her partner while he went out on his dates. You see, she may think of all the time she slept with him and he had been in the bed with someone else. Her stomach churns inside because this man told her that he loved her repeatedly and had no other woman, but she learns that was all a lie. She suggested relationship counseling and he had excuses. Now she has children looking up to her, asking questions about you and daddy. And all she can say with tears in her eyes is, you will have 2 houses you get to go to. Meanwhile, she is really thinking, how did it come to this? And let me tell you, when I wrote this book, I was in it. Yep, I was in it. I was in the pain. I'd already gotten out of the relationship, but I was in the pain. I was in the disappointment. I was in the upset. I was thinking about all of these things that had taken place. And I was saying to myself, why is it that as mothers, we do all of these things, care for our children, clean homes, take care of household responsibilities, go out on top of that, get a job. Then we got more burdens and more things, and we buy men these gifts, and we make sure that the children have gifts and all of this other stuff, only to have a woman or women around flaunting themselves, and the men accepting, married men, mind you, accepting their winks, or they are going over there talking to these women. It's sad. It's sad. And it's a cry. I can tell you from personal experience, it's a cry that lasts for years until God comes along and he says, okay, I am everything to you now. And you don't have to cry anymore. You see, but as a mother, we give up a lot. And some of you all who are doing these things, and you see that she's going mad, about a lot of stuff, you got to look at how you're contributing or you're not contributing. Maybe you're the family member that's always telling her, well, she need to do this, she need to do that. But then what are you doing to help her? Or why is it she always get mixed up with these men and all this other stuff? Because she's still grieving. She's still going through. Well, she need to get over herself. Yeah, well, it's easier said than done. And this is why we got to have praying saints, not critical saints, but praying saints. Because if she's not listening to your words, then maybe God can listen to your words about her. But the gossip sessions are not going to stop tears. The gossip sessions are not going to help her with her fears. The gossip sessions are not going to bring her up out of despondency. So somebody needs to just quell all of that foolishness and be the kind of Christian that God has called you to be. Pray. Pray for these women. Well, that is it. Some of you all, this book is for you. Okay? You should have got it like yesterday. When Mothers Cry by NichollMcGuire. Please do check the description box. Also, if you see something else that appeals to you, by all means, click on it. We do accept donations on this channel. You are welcome to give. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Subscribe today. Blessings to you.